Good morning. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Sandy. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Pega. I'd be wanting to use your name and then I forget. Good morning. I am late because I have a house full of tiny humans. Um, and it's vacation time. And my son has turned his bedroom into a basketball ring. Oh, Kel, that means you're off too. Come over. Let's make a date for when you're free and you could come over and we could catch up. Plus, I need well, come over after Christmas, so your gift will be finished because we're working on that today and tomorrow. Good morning, sunshine. Oh, let me open this. I thought it was lighter. Oh, look at proper. The light is returning. I'm on the opposite side of my couch. Can you see me? Is that too much light? Do you see this? Kay got me these for the holiday, so I opened up my solstice gift. I love that. I also love that she pays such attention. She not only this is what makes her an amazing business coach. Cause like, how do you know that? How do you know that, friends? How do you know that? Because you paid attention to me. So you know that I like little holes in my things and you know I'm always in a hat and I like to be cute. So I got a bag of just a whole never too much, thank you. Just like a whole bunch of little amazing accoutrements that Morgan and I are sharing because Morgan is also extra. So good morning, good morning. All right, I'm trying to pull up all my notes. Let's see, because I'm slow today. So how was your solstice? How was your solstice? I want you to talk to me. All right. Da-da-da. Yesterday, I'm gonna tell you about mine. And what we're going to talk about today. I know I give an editorial calendar. I'm aware. I know that. I know it's what I do. So I gave my editorial calendar, and that's what I'm also trying to pull up. So you know what we should be doing or what we said we were going to do. And it's taking editorial calendar. So what we were intended to be talking about. I think I sent you a picture of my altar, but I need to send it with candles lit. You did send me a picture of your altar, and it was beautiful. I appreciate that. What we were supposed to be doing was talking about the global mission, how Christianity justified land theft and genocide. And this arc is very important to me. So I am not trying to move away from that. But yesterday I did solstice and I spent it with my friend Zon. I highly recommend her as a writer and a human. Zon Valines from Liberating. Oh, there she goes from Liberating Motherhood. So while I want to stay on track with my editorial calendar, um, God, I'm gonna cry. I fucking hate this. You guys know I am a Gen Xer. I decided to take on the invitation of Zon's invite for their solstice celebration. And as soon as I received the invitation, it was just so beautiful because I know that it was something that prior to knowing her, she celebrated. And then it stopped due to the loss of her child, her daughter, and her mother. So when I received the invite, it was something that I knew that I had to do. And not out of obligation, but just something like somebody trusting you to sit in that sort of a space, that coming back, right? Like the best part of that solstice is the coming back, the promise of that light coming back, right? It could be the longest, darkest night of the year, but you know that that light is coming back. And upon getting that, after them having not done that celebration for 5 years and receiving that invite, I had to sit with a lot of things, right? I shared an article this morning about it because my life is my writing. I had to think about all of the things, bringing my children, my neurodiverse children into a neurodiverse space. I know Zon. I trust Zon. I don't know all the people that Zon knows, and I don't trust all the people that Zon knows because that is just how systemic things work, right? So I shared, Kieran is very quick to be like, are they white? That's Karen's first question. Where are we going? And are we going to be the only Black people there? I do not know where this comes from. So I know that it has to be an epigenetic thing. Good morning, Deirdre. Hey, Mia. Hey, Suze. Because I don't have those experiences because I grew up white and I grew up with white people. So I feel very comfortable, right? Zon looks like my cousin. Like, I don't have those. And we have a very close relationship with our family. But I realize that my children have a completely different upbringing than I do. Um, so we have to field that question, right? And I had to think about all of those things. And Morgan's the life of the party. I don't worry about Morgan going anywhere. Anywho, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I tell the kids yesterday, I'm like, hey, reminder, we're going to my friend's on solstice celebration, right? Okay, cool. Da-da-da-da-da-da. The next day comes, because we have to prep these children. Hey, we're going to Zon's solstice celebration, right? And counting down, right? And I'm like, hey, you guys go open up your little solstice gift. All of this is happening, all this processing and all this stuff. And I'm like, so we're going to go. And we are celebrating so much right now, right? I did not want to tell them exactly what it was because sometimes they don't have social graces and that's not the appropriate time to start asking people about the loss because they have very inappropriate questions about my mother and loss around that. So I was like, it's not the time for her to have to feel those things or Jeff to have to feel those things anyway. But I did let them know, hey, we're going to go celebrate the solstice. There's going to possibly be some music there. I was very thrilled when they opened up a fire and there was marshmallows, as were the kids. Anyway, I say all of that because it was such a beautiful, oh God, it was such a beautiful night in all of the ways. In all of the ways, right? In all of the ways, in the missteps, in the intricate weaving of life, of paths that cross and that become. Um, there was just so much beauty in it. And I could not have honestly thought of a better way to spend my solstice. And then I got up this morning and I'm still sitting with all of the beauty and the grief and all of those things inside of it. So I decided that my article today was going to be about that instead of running back. What the heck did I say we were talking about? Instead of running back the global mission of how Christianity justified land theft and genocide. Don't worry, colonization and decolonization is always available. But in true community building fashion and during these holiday seasons, when we are all going to experience these multi-layered spaces, right? Like walking into a space, potentially being the only Black people there. Like, right? Like, what does that look like? And obviously, even when you love and trust that one person, it does not mean that every single person that they are going to be around has that. I don't bring my Black friends around my family. This is not like this is not an attack on them. It's that I just know that they're going to say some shit, that some of them are going to say some shit and not in this overtly way. Um, but that unconscious sort of bias, that anti-Blackness that is just built in, right? And too often when we are trying to build community, you guys are so fucking hung up on people that say the right things all the time, do the right things, these political titles and buzzwords. And it's like, it's not going to be that way. That is not community. And the goal is that none of that shit matters in the end anyway, right? The goal is not conversion, but true communion. That expecting people to do things, right? I expect white people to be white. I expect men to men. I expect children to be children. Like that sort of thing, right? Like, and not in a negative way, in a way that we recognize how society molds people, right? So giving that space, giving that grace, and recognizing everybody in community, you are not going to, again, agree and align are two different things. You won't agree with every single thing that happens with people, but you should align. And what I could say from being there and in that shared space, um, is that Zon has curated an amazing community that is deeply aligned with her values and ethics. And you could see it there in that space, right? You could see it when Erin walked in their furry gear, and everybody was not, like shocked or what have you. They just really engaged Erin with conversation. Oh, well, what's your first owner's name? Tell me more. Oh, can I touch that? Like, what does it feel like? This true enthusiasm of meeting her. You could see that when I'm having conversations with her friends, and I know the fuck y'all didn't think I wasn't gonna not curse where I go. I try. I try. But nobody was, like, aghast, like, there was no respectability politics. There was no I did not feel like I needed to perform, and that was something so beautiful to experience, all whilst navigating the grief that was happening. Where's my son? Is he comfortable? Morgan dancing with Sherry's friends who were drumming. It was just so beautiful and so multi-layered. And I was like bursting with grief, joy, excitement, tension. Just so much. So I wanted to share that with you guys this morning. So we are going to do our three things, right? Because I do like to show you guys how I pretty much turn my life into lessons. This is how I do that work. So, the longest night and the work of community. But I wanted to give you the preface for that. So, drink your water, get your hot coffee, tea. I have not had any of that this morning. I got up and immediately started writing, lighting candles on the altar, welcoming the light back into our days and into our lives. And I just really wanted to share that whole space. So, talking point one, community is not just the good parts. Two, trust is built by telling the whole truth. Three, praxis is learning to hold the in between. Okay, are we ready? Good job. One, community is not just celebration. It's not only laughter, ease, or the moments we post when life feels light. Community is the willingness to sit together when joy and grief share the same breath, right? Because that is what yesterday was, right? There was this multi-layered, like I said, it's me walking into this space. Are we going to be comfortable? Are we going to be held? Are we going to be safe? And also not centering myself in that, right? Like, because at any given time, I have boundaries. I could walk out that door. And this moment was about her and her family celebrating grief, loss, joy, the coming back of that community on this special day. So it wasn't for me to center myself. It was just for me to be aware, right? Like some self-awareness of what am I walking into 9 times out of 10. And having a to-go plan, right? Like, "Hey, I gotta go. It's been great. Love you. We'll talk later." Right? I don't need to make a show if something were to come up. This was in my mind, right? If the kids are uncomfortable, "Hey, love you. Thank you. This was great. We'll talk later." Same answer, same script, all of the things. If something was just, like, wildly egregious, "Hey, this was great. Love you. Thanks. Talk later." Because I'm gonna have that relationship with the person that I have a relationship with, and I don't need to center myself in that moment, right? So there's that multi-layer of me walking into this space. Then there's that multi-layer of recognizing the joy of her bringing back her community, old and new, because I'm new. And the grief of the loss of their daughter and, her mom and Jeff's mother-in-law, just all of this converging in this space of love and friendship, right? And what that looks like. So the reframe, right, when we're building community that I offer here is because, I keep telling you guys, we're not going to be just like around braiding each other's fucking hair and putting flowers in it. That's not community. And that is literally how community gets co-opted by colonized ways. This idea of a uniformed way of being, this idea that there will not be any conflict. The truth is, You need to learn conflict resolution. You need to have some healthy communication skills. You need to understand your nervous system, how it works, like what you need to do. You need some boundaries. There's a lot of things that go into community. And it's not only during the good. And again, now we get to this binary because people are like, oh, but yes, I've been there. I would go to somebody's funeral and support them. Yes, that's either or. You're celebrating life, which is all the joys, the ups, the happiness, the birthdays, the weddings, the yada yada yadas, or you're celebrating deep grief, right? You have death and severe sickness, disability, these sorts of things that happen, but those are still existing in a binary. What was so beautiful about yesterday is the tension of holding it all in this sacred container, right? Like in the beauty of we can celebrate life whilst holding the space for grief and death and remembrance. And that is a deeper marking of community. We all know the people that show up to funerals. Thank you. I'm not the person that will. Happy Monday, Ingrid. I'm not really the person that will show up to the funeral, but I am the person that'll check on you 2 months later. Like, how you doing? Do you need some soup? How are you processing? What's going on? Because grief doesn't go away. And in Zahn's article, God, I meant to quote that, but I will add it into this replay. In Zahn's article of it, there was something that she talked about, and she was like, and it's so fucking real. Oh, God. Zahn, if you're still on, what did you say? You were like, grief is not a process. It's basically, it's a permanent state, to paraphrase, and I will find the exact phrasing and put it in this replay. Um, But I often tell people that, right? Like, as somebody who's had tons of parental loss, I love this and I love you. The girls and I are sitting on the floor watching you and eating cook cake. I'm coming back. I meant to take those muffins on. I'm coming back for the muffins. And I love you too. Um, as someone who is, I've had parental loss, it changes you. There is no process. It's just a new normal. It's just permanent. It's a permanent grief. Yep, grief is a permanent state. That's what you said. Yes, it leaves us permanently changed because it should. It should. And last week, it was just so perfect, this convergence, because last week I was talking about grief is the proof that love existed. And that is why we should allow it. So, anyway, you guys got me crying on camera. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Perimenopause is killing me. I've become a sucker. So when we're talking about community and sharing that space, there's a difference of sharing that wild grief, that immediate loss grief, and holding that space together in the joy. It was beautiful to see her mom's friends drumming and then my kid playing with them, and they gave her a lesson and they shared Sherry's favorite story. I cannot say the tree's name. I will put it back in here. But that's legacy. That's love. That's community. That is a story that I will now share with my children. And Morgan will have as a core memory from a person that she never knew, that she never knew. But that legacy of love, of community, what she built all those years ago with her friend group in her own advocacy is still carrying on through her child, through her grandchildren, through her son-in-law, through now myself, through my children. That is the beauty of community. And that is the beauty of the in-between. So the reframe that I offer here is if you've been taught that community is only for good times, you weren't taught community. You were taught convenience. It is not convenient. Community is not convenient. It's fucking hard work. You're crying too. I know. I'm a fucking sucker. I need some toilet paper. Like using a little gloves here. Community is not convenient, folks. Like reality is it's not. Okay, you're going to have to do shit that you don't want to do. And I know I talk about non-consensual behaviors of supremacy culture. This is not the same as that. And that is what you need to be dismantling in it. It is showing up in the discomfort. That's what I mean about doing stuff that you want to do. It's going to be uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me to get in this car knowing I was going to be in predominantly white space. I could do that. I'm comfortable with that. I grew up like that. My children have not. But it is also uncomfortable for her to show up in this grief, this acute grief, because it could still be, look at me. So I can only imagine Zon and Jeff, right? Oh, wait, someone said something. My mom helped start the peer support specialist program with Sue Smith. She would have loved you so damn much. I love it. That's something she built, lives on in you. And I loved that that connection came about, right? Like, I know Sue Smith because 1,000 years ago, I had a cleaning company and I cleaned Sue's house. And when I immediately needed the assistance with, becoming a kinship care partner, I was like, oh shit, let me go to Sue. Screw going directly to the state. And then I had wanted a couple years ago to do the CPS, uh, the Certified Peer Specialist Support Specialist certification, and I went to the state directly, and they were like, "Oh no, my story wasn't like enough for them or whatever." And then I realized that Sue started it, and then we spoke about it, and it was that your mom started it. So even that, right? Like those little letters at the end of my word is a birth of your mom, and it just yesterday was beautiful, Zon. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Right. And today I'm going to kind of sit in all of that. When I get off of here, I'm going to go get some coffee and a cigar because that's about all I'm doing today. Letting that light come back slowly. But community, back to that, community is going to be inconvenient, right? It was inconvenient. In the way of discomfort, not in like, "Oh god, something I have to do." I don't believe in doing anything like that. I believe in everything should be met with enthusiastic joy. But there is still okay to say that this is going to be uncomfortable and I'm still gonna show up anyway. And like I said, having boundaries, having conflict repair, having all of these tool sets will allow you to turn around and say, "You know what? That was great. We gotta go. I'll talk to you later." But none of that happened for me. I did not have to do that. That was beautiful. And like I said, it was a great reflection of what has been built throughout generations. So, real community isn't proven by attendance, it's revealed by capacity. What do you have the capacity to hold for yourself, for others, in all of that space, right? Because not only are we dealing with parental loss, we're talking about child loss. That's a lot. That's a lot to hold. And we do not have enough conversations about that. And I think as a society, that needs to completely and utterly shift. I shared in the article how this morning, like I just kind of woke up crying, like, as I was writing and texting's on and, like, lighting candles, because you could witness that, but there is that breath that you take, "At least it's not me," right? And it's the same breath where I mean, like, this work lives in all of this. It is you can want to do and offer the deepest gratitude and space and do this work, but you have to be honest and human with yourself, right? It's the same way when I turn around and I tell white people, when you're watching Black people being fucking murdered, state sanctioned murders, and all of this violence, there's still a pause and a breath that you take and you say, "At least I'm not Black." You got to be honest about that, right? You have to be in community and to be in true solidarity. You have to be honest that you take a relief in that. Does it suck? Yes. Did it suck that this morning I woke up with a relief that I've never processed, having to lose a child? Yes. Is that honest? Yes. Is that human? Yes. Does that allow me to show up for my friend better? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm not going to pretend. Like, I'm not going to, how could I show up for you? Right. Because in that, I get to decenter myself because I allowed myself to that full spectrum of my own processing. And now I'm just left there with capacity for her. How do I show up for you? What can I do? Right. And recognizing my own relief to not having faced that reality. And those are more conversations that could we have. But anyway, we're going to move on to point number 2. Take a breath, stretch it out. I would call one of these kids to bring me some tissue, but then they'll want to talk to me. And I don't have the capacity. All right. So, trust is built by telling the whole truth. Truth doesn't come from pretending harm doesn't exist. It comes from naming reality and choosing relationship anyway. So, when I talked about like preparing my children for these conversations, honoring their nervous systems, what we need, giving them the safe outs, right? Like you're not going to have to thug it out. We're not going to thug it out. If there's something that makes you uncomfortable, you could leave. We could talk about it. We could do these sorts of things, right? You don't have to lie to be in community, is the point. You don't have to pretend that things are going to be comfortable. You don't have to pretend that you're not going to come up against potential harm, unconscious bias. It just, again, I keep telling you guys, it's the water that we swim in, all of it. Supremacy culture is the water that we swim in. So I expect white people to be white. I expect men to be men, and not in the egregious way that, we think about, right? Like, no, I don't necessarily, um, I do enjoy being catcalled, but I don't think that it has to be a thing. I'm not saying like boys will be boys sort of thing, but I expect men to say something that's going to be something that probably needs to be corrected. No, but we don't say that, right? My perfect example. My son he recorrected Shady yesterday. He was like, "Why are you dog walking in that sort of way? Don't put your body in that position or something." I'm like, no. He's 9, being raised by me. So we know that this is a real conversation we're constantly dismantling. But society, being that this is the water we swim in, there is some policing that happens from male mask boy children to girl femme children. Do you need something? Morgan would like to say hi. Now go away. But since you're here, be useful and get mommy some tissue because I'm snot crying over here. May you please get me some tissue? No? Okay, thanks. Appreciate that, kiddo.
The tissue.
Huh?
This tissue.
The iPad is not damn tissue. Go get me some real tissue, please.
Here.
You're silly, Billy. Can I get some tissue? Do you mind? I would appreciate it. That is some tissue. But now you're not going to have it for wrapping gifts.
Okay, so
Oh, okay. Lisa said good morning. Oh, Lord. Kel said, hi, sweet Shady.
who's that?
Gives me a rag. There we go. I love that. I need some handkerchiefs. Okay. So the reframe here is honesty does not destroy community. Avoidance does. Not being willing to have that conversation, not being high leader, not being willing to confront the fact that we are probably walking into a space where we will be the only Black people. Not me gaslighting my child, acting like it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter to me. Shady just snuck some Cheetos, or thought she snuck some Cheetos, but because my experience growing up is not the same as my children's, right? So I do not get to turn around and gaslight my child. Like, that's not real. That's not so. You could be comfortable. No, I grew up like white as hell, right? I grew up usually being the only in my family, right? Especially after my father passed, I was the only Black person in my family. Like my parents were the only mixers of the group, right? My Black family is monoracially Black through and through. I'm the lightest thing on my father's side of the family, and my mom's side is monoracially white and ethnically Irish through and through. I'm the darkest thing on my mother's side. So I grew up very comfortable being wherever I am. For a while, I was more comfortable in more white spaces anyway, because that was just like more my norm. My dad died when I was really young. My grandmother died when I was 13. So that loss of being in Black spaces outside of like your hanging out, your social groups for my family settings, my intimate spaces were white all of my life, right? White women kissed my boo-boos, read me bedtime stories, told me things would be okay. So that's my experience with whiteness. That is not their experience. They love their family, but they do not, this is who they see. And we experience the world, right, by what we're looking at, right? So like for them, they have a Black mother, a Black father, a Black grandmother, because my mom has passed, and they have white cousins and that stuff, but there is a distinct removal. You're talking about people that visit. You're talking about when you go to visit them and he loves them to death. He has white godmother. But again, these people are not your immediate core people. Now, the other two do not have this experience, but Karen does, right? So I have to honor that truth. I do not gaslight my children. It is true for them because it's true for them. I don't know where the fuck he got it. I don't care because it's true for him. That means I need to address that truth, right? So that is the reframe, is that honesty does not destroy community, but avoidance does. Avoiding that, acting like, no, that's not a true feeling. That's not something. That's not going to do anything. And that doesn't build community. True community relies on honesty. Yes, I'm uncomfortable, or here may be uncomfortable. So, what are we going to do about that? Again, hey, this is great. Gotta go. Talk to you later. Find your exit plan, have your boundaries, be able to have communications, set yourself up with truth. So, the reflection that I offer you here is, where have you been asked to be positive instead of being honest? Where have you felt pressure to downplay your instincts to make other people comfortable? And what changes when truth is spoken with care instead of silence? Because I offered my son his truth and did not try to gaslight him out of it based on my life experience and my comfortability level, he was able to meet that moment with his truth and trusting that if he were uncomfortable, if something did go awry, he would be able to leave because I believed him. Right. And part of our family agreements, we have family agreements, is trusting me. And what that means, that shows me that you love me. Thanks, Kels. Yeah, you see, they love you. You're white as hell. Like, this is just, but they know in their home, they are held, they are trusted. These people have been uh, vetted, right? Like, that this is their family, but now we're stepping out. And that is a truth for them, right? So, all of that led to, by the end of the night, he was hugging Zawn multiple times and in her damn pantry taking some Gatorade. So basically, that's Auntie Zawn now. Because that is the one, right? Morgan has never met a stranger. Erin is cool as long as I'm anywhere they are. Erin a ride. Erin is a rider. Morgan is the life of the party. But Kieran fell in love. And that just says so much, right? Like, and that is the building of community for them, because whilst Zon and Jeff were my community, right? They have both been there for me in times of great need in my life. That doesn't mean that they were necessarily a part of my children's community. That is me honoring my friends are not my kids' friends. That's y'all are weird. You gotta, nope, it doesn't extend that way. Those people have to build relationships with those children as well. Right. That's how that goes. I do not anticipate that Zon's kids just automatically are my friends, feel comfortable with me, love on me because their parents do. No, that is also how you set children up to be victims of predators. Be mindful of that. The relationship is here. That does not extend and cover to the whole family. Just like your man's friends are not your friends, or vice versa, or any other people. It's not osmosis. Community building is not osmosis. Like, it is true intentional relationship building with each individual person in community. There you go. 3, praxis is learning how to hold the in between. Community is messy. It includes grief, joy, awkwardness, missteps, beauty, bias, care, repair, all at once. All at once. All at once, right? Every single moment does not need to be confronted. A lot of you, it's about to curse, but then we're going to make it aggressive. So, see, look at me. Everybody has room for growth. A lot of you keyboard warriors, progressive, liberal white folks, I know that you mean well. And I'm literally grouping you in as a call in. Every single thing does not need confrontation. Not in the moment, not thereafter. Every single thing does not need confrontation. And I know so many people have learned these new ways of being, but also it can make an entire situation uncomfortable. It can make the person you think that you're advocating for uncomfortable, right? And now we're right back to non-consensual situations of supremacy culture and bringing colonization into community spaces. More than likely, I don't need to confront every single thing. I'm going to give you an example that I thought was beautifully innocent, but still riddled with anti-Blackness and unconscious bias. Someone asked, like the kids' names. Now, I give them to them in this order because this was they were lined up like my little Matryoshka dolls that they are. Kieran, Morrigan, Erin. Oh, cool. How do you spell Erin? I'm sure you spell it differently. So I took a breath and I took a pause and I was like, is this the moment to do this? And I was like, this is not the moment to do this. This is not. And I'm like, ERIN, because why would I spell it? There's no other reason, right? And then and it could have been innocent, but this is again back to this is the water we swim in. The assumption that I would spell Erin being as fucking loudly Irish. By the way, I had a fucking shamrock on as a brooch, holding me little shawl together. 3 things you'll know about me in 3 minutes. All right. I'm Irish. I'm from the Bronx. I'm somebody's mama. Not every moment needs confrontation. Not every single moment, right? Like, and when your guys are learning about centering and decentering and all of that sort of stuff, it's not that I'm afraid of confrontation at all. It's not that I didn't feel comfortable doing that, even in that space. It's not that I knew that if I had to have an educational moment, Zon would have my back. And without a doubt, also, decentering is for everybody. Wasn't the time, wasn't the place. We moved over it. I said ERIN. I was like, yeah, no, just Erin. Just, it's a sacred name. Just Erin. Like, also, the key should have been the Irish ass names that were given Kieran, Morrigan, and Erin. I mean, like, aside from Deirdre, Mary, and Bridget, it does not get more Irish than those 3 names. But alas, that is how that works, right? But every single moment doesn't need confrontation. This is going to be something that you need to know inside of communicate in community. Ingrid said, is Morrigan named after the Morrigan? She is indeed. Absolutely. She is absolutely. We have a whole little thing on Morrigan's altar. She knows she's named after the Celtic goddess, the Morrigan. Erin is named after my mother. My mother was Bridget Erin Teresa. Teresa's her confirmation name. So Erin carries my mother's middle name and her confirmation name, Erin Teresa. Kieran means the black one. Yo! So they are very intentionally named after the people. Plus, Ireland, Erin is the love name of Ireland, especially specifically during the Troubles. And it was just such a beautiful, fitting name. So, yeah, Erin is named after my mom. Kieran means the black one, and Morrigan is definitely after the dark goddess. Those names are beautiful. Thank you. That means I still have a physiological limbic response when I speak my truth and challenge the status quo. Does it ever get better? It does get better. It absolutely does get better. The more you ground into your truth, the more solid it is, and the more discernment you use. Like I said, I am a truthful speaker. I am confrontational intentionally, and that just wasn't the time, right? The more I found, the more rooted I got in my discernment was the easier my body responses to it. I told you guys when I was a kid, I would literally vomit. I now call it like when my clients go through it and they're like, I just feel so queasy. I'm like, it's called truth vomit. I would literally vomit if I could not say the things that I wanted to say as a kid. My body would just be like, oh God, get it out of your body. Now I've learned, like I said, every moment doesn't need that confrontation, right? And that's a process that social justice warriors, and not in a negative way, just like as we calling in group, um, will and need to get to with that nervous system regulation. It's like, is this a moment for that? When is the time? How to do this sort of work? Who's safe, who's not, and what it looks like doing that in community. Because now, let's say there was a social justice warrior that heard that and did that shit, and like, why would you ask? I would have been like, shorty, not now, right? Like now there's more work. Like now you're actually placing work on me to do when I'm like, it's not that I have an issue with confronting a situation. It just didn't need to. Plus I know I have a platform, right? This is a conversation that I'm now having. This is a confrontation of that, and not in a passive aggressive way, in an educational way. Maybe they'll read it. Maybe they'll hear it. Yeah. I don't know. But if not, other people will, and that matters. So I'm going to say that yes, it gets better with discernment and rooting into your own truth. Kavita says, yes, I feel ill because of the adrenaline rush, but only when it's people more powerful than me. Well, I don't think anybody's more powerful than me. And I think that that's super important to get to. I could recognize systemic um, power plays and hierarchies, but I am divine, just like you are. Nobody is more powerful than the other when we are operating in our truths, right? And our true personhood and our true divinity. Like I said, I could recognize hierarchies. I'm not blind. I understand racism, ableism, classism, all the isms, all of the hierarchies. But when it comes down to it, no one is more powerful than you. And no one is more powerful than you when you're talking about you, right? Nobody knows you better than you do. Okay, so the reframe that I offer here is praxis is not about perfection. It's about stay. Oh, and by the way, we wound up having an amazing conversation throughout for the rest of the night, and I scored a really awesome recipe that I will be trying. So it turned out wonderful, even moving past that moment, right? Because it just wasn't needed. And again, when you go into spaces where you're sharing community, expect people to be who the fuck they are, right? Who they are personally, who they have been shaped socially, and remember the water that we swim in. That is something I want you to keep. Susan said, that's beautiful. It was beautiful. Kavita said, yes, that's it, systemic. But yes, that's the change now. I know I am equal to or better than the white man who's my boss. Oh, yeah, no, like, yeah, there's no better or worse than, right? Like, we are all divine beings. I could recommend, like I said, I could recognize the systemic inequities and injustices that go on. But yeah, nobody's better than me. So hold that truth for yourself. So the reframe is praxis isn't about perfection. It's about staying long enough to repair for repair to be possible, right? And the reflection that I offer here is how do you respond when things aren't clean or when they're not resolved, right? Does everything need a resolution for you? Do you need to have this moment right here and right now? Is it appropriate? Where's your discernment? How vital is this? Specifically, when like I'm sharing it from the person experiencing it, but if somebody else had overheard it, right? Like, because the people that listen to me here are quite usually those that are navigating activism and dismantling. In that situation, would you have spoken up? And I hope not, right? And if anything, at best, ask the person that you think you're advocating for. Because again, enthusiastic yes. Yeah, you know what? As a matter of fact, yeah, do me a favor. Take her to the side and go have that conversation with them. I'm not invested in it enough, but I love that you are, and thanks for asking. Do you see the difference? Instead of you jumping in, jumping over, infantilizing Black people, or anyone who I shared a story on TikTok maybe like 2 years ago. So I'm going to give you this example outside of racism, right? Because again, the work is greater than just anti-racism. We're going to talk about ableism here now and how we show up with our own personal experiences. It's 2 years ago now. We are at the baseball field. We're doing the end of year celebration, right? They call it Joycella at the kids' school. So yes, 2 years ago, because last year it was canceled. 2 years ago, we're at Joycella. Is a guy in the wheelchair, and he's kind of like going up like this hill. It's bumpy. It's all of these things. Here I come, superimposing myself with my barely able body, my damn self. But now I'm coming to this with this experience of my mother was in a wheelchair. I knew how much she struggled. I knew how much she wanted help. But these are all the things that was what my mother wanted. I don't know what this person wanted. But I was like, hey, you want some help? He was like, no, da-da-da-da-da. I'm good. I got it. And I'm like, I'm still watching him struggle. I took his wheelchair and I fucking moved him anyway. Like I was helping him, helping him. And then when I fucking sat down and thought about that, I was like, oh my God, I took away this man's entire fucking autonomy. Like, what is he doing whenever else he's struggling? Is he just waiting for somebody to come save him? Somebody with some some semblance of able-bodiedness, and I took away his entire choice because what the fuck could he do? Could he get out of the wheelchair and push me off of it? I took his wheelchair by the handles, got him onto steady ground. It was like, okay, guys, did my good deed of the day. Ah, and I fucking wanted to choke on it. Like 15 minutes later when I was sitting down, I was like, I went looking for him so I could apologize, but maybe at the time, he was on his way leaving. I don't know. But it was awful. It was awful. And if I could find the TikTok, I will attach it to this. So there's those things, is listening to people, actually believing people when they say no, giving them a chance to change their mind, all of those things, and consent in all of the things is super important. So, okay, the reflection. How do you respond when things aren't clean or resolved? Do you rush to fix, explain, leave, or perform? What would it look like to stay present without centering yourself? Right? Because that was my goal yesterday. My goal, and that doesn't mean, again, you guys get so caught up in these binaries and this either or. Um, and we're not like in some weird oppression Olympics when we're building community, right? Like I was there for my friends. Like I was there for my friends. And I felt like it was a sacred place and duty, and an honor to have been invited to sit with them in this beautiful celebration of grief and joy and life and return of the light, return of the community that they once had and shared, right, with Ember, with Sherry, and being a part of that one moment did not overshadow that. And I get to make that choice, right? So when you're in spaces and in shared community, you have got to let go of the idea that harm will not happen in community. You have got to let go of the idea that what we are creating and co-creating here is some utopia where those things don't happen, where people don't have missteps, right? What you're demanding as a monoculture and supremacy culture is the same thing. Right. Supremacy culture is a monoculture. It demands one right way. It demands the paternalism, the hierarchies. It demands racism. It demands ableism, classism, cis, hetero, gender, Christian, patriarchy, white, rich, maleness. It demands that because it demands a monoculture. It demands that we all assimilate. We all become the same. And community demands that we honor each other's differences, that we honor where we each are in each other's lives and paths, and we offer grace and love and opportunity and repair and, yes, discomfort. You're going to have a lot of moments of tension and discomfort in community. And that is just the reality, friends. I don't know what to tell you. And if that is not something that you can deal with, that is absolutely fine. That just may mean you're just not at that stage of community building yet, right? Like that just may not be it for you. And that is okay. That is okay. Because again, all encompassing, folks, all encompassing. So, in our closing, I wanted to say, because I'm going to grab myself some coffee, stretch this out, drink some water, light yet another candle, inviting more of that light, more of that community, holding that space, thanking, um, thanking them energetically for this legacy of love that just keeps on growing. I'm going to share Sherry's favorite song today, because Amy, who was an amazing Amy was feeling that jump. You feel me? You feel me? I shared a little video in my article. I'm talking about on it, and you could just feel the joy and the love that she was like bringing her friends right here. She was drumming up her spirit, and it was just beautiful. So I'm going to share that story with the kids today. I'll share it with you guys in the replay. And now more people will enjoy that story and her legacy and community and friendship. So here's what I'm closing with, guys. Listening ears. Life teaches lessons before theory ever does. Last night wasn't perfect, and that's why it mattered. We didn't bypass the darkness to get to the light. We stayed together. And the real question life keeps asking us is, can you hold all of it? The grief, the joy, the fear, the love, the awkwardness, and still stay human. This is the practice. This is the work. That is community. And with that, my friends, I am going to head off, get some coffee, and take care of my body. And I will put the article that was intended to be out today, probably later on today, or maybe tomorrow. But sit with all of this. Sit with all of this because my life really is my teacher. And my goal is to bring real world life applications to you so that you too could allow life to be your teacher and not your albatross. All right. I love you guys. Bless solstice. I will see you on Wednesday and then again on Friday. Deirdre's coming on with Friday with Friends. And then I'm going to take a break. Let me warn you guys now. I'm probably not coming back until January 12th, I think it is. The kids go back to school January 6th, and I'm going to need a week to recalibrate my own body and needs after being home for 3 weeks, day in and day out with my tiny humans, right? So I love you guys. Yes, yes. And I will see you on Friday, Deirdre. I'm super stoked. And I'm going to email you back so we can figure out what we're talking about. But that's about it. All right. Zon, if you're still on, I love you. I love you, Jeff. I love you, girls. Thank you for having me. And we may come on by for the Coke cake because that was some deliciousness. We're happy to take the muffins. Okay. Okay. Bye.